welcome back. This is our final video of the day. We are discussing I'm Judging You by Luvvie Ajayi. This go round we are going to be talking about her chapter How to Succeed at Business Failure, starting on page 187. So Luvvie has a few areas which she describes as big no's if you are a business owner. Her first one is you use Comic Sans font. Her second is you still use an AOL or Hotmail account for work purposes. 3 is you annoy everyone with your marketing. And 4 is you call yourself a visionary or something equally pompous. So my first question is, does formality matter anymore, or should it? Examples, what font we use, how we format a letter, even the clothes we choose to wear to work. So when it comes to those different ideas, I think that formality absolutely does still matter. And I am with Luvvie 100% when it comes to the use of Comic Sans font. Not too long ago, a friend of mine was getting a new job and asked me if I would take a look at the offer letter. I said, absolutely, I'll just look. You just wanted to bounce some ideas off to someone. Does this look like a good deal? So I was like, yeah, send it over. I'll take a look. It was written in Comic Sans font. This person was not applying to be a kindergarten teacher. I was just appalled. I had such a hard time even looking at the content of this. I was like, what professional sends out an official document written in Comic Sans font? I think that we, especially with the use of social media and how quickly everything is moving all the time, and Twitter and fitting things into 140 characters or text, and we have lost respect for a sense of formality and professionalism that I think is really important. When it comes to taking the time to write a formal email using proper grammar and complete sentences, I am appalled at the number of people that do not do that, let alone just proofread. I mean, if we're talking about bare minimum. When I say dress code, I do not mean regulating women's bodies. I believe in a non-gendered dress code, but there is a certain level of you don't show up in jeans and a t-shirt if you're going to court, right? And that kind of sense of respect for what you're doing and respect for whatever your profession is, I think is something that we're losing a little bit. And I might seem old-fashioned in this, but I believe that we should treat our professions with the respect that we want to receive, and I am with her on the Comic Sans font rant. I've read some people thinking it was too much, but I could have her go on and on and on. If it were up to me, everything would be written in Times New Roman, which is as boring as it comes, and I love it, and it makes my heart sing, and I know that I am so old school when it comes to that. She wrote this little piece from Luvvie that I just adored. It says, as a professional, you should know that I cannot think you're all gathered if you're using a typeface meant for children. I see that font in an email. I think you're joking and refuse to respond. The use of Comic Sans is usually accompanied by text of varying colors because one bad decision begets another. This really reminds me of high school when I'd have my AOL Instant Messenger in some crazy font, and it was pink background with purple writing. That has no place in an adult professional setting. So I am with you, Luvvie, and anyone out there using it, I'm judging you. And I don't feel bad about it. So anyway, that I thought was really funny. It really spoke to me. And so yeah, I think that there is a place for formality, and I love that we are becoming more open in this idea of full self work environments where you can be expressive, and I love that, but I think that there still needs to be a place where we respect our professions. And so maybe at least just picking a nice font is step 1. Okay, so my second question is, where is the line between projecting confidence and showing value for the skills that you have and misrepresenting yourself. So the idea of imposter syndrome is something that Brittany and I have discussed before. I think she did a video on it when we did our Behaving Boldly series, and it is a very real thing. It is something that Brittany has experienced, something that I've experienced, and this idea that you have talents and sometimes you start to doubt yourself, that you're going to be found out as an imposter. And it's not because you're not capable, but it is truly just this mental block of like, oh my gosh, am I good enough? That is not a good thing. I think that there are merits to it, and we can talk about this idea that you're constantly challenging yourself to be better, but the paralyzing effects that can happen from imposter syndrome are bad. There is the other side of the spectrum, and that is this overconfident exaggeration and misrepresentation of your skills, your expertise. And so she, in her last segment of this chapter, you call yourself a visionary or something equally pompous. This is something that I feel like has just run rampant, especially in these sort of online communities. So we run an online magazine, which means that Brittany and I spend a great deal of time on the internet, on social media, whether it's Instagram or Facebook or the website. We do have and see great value in doing things in person, and we host different events and get people together, and we think that's really important. But that does not change the fact that we spend a ton of time online. And to see what people are claiming expertise in is sometimes just blows my mind. There is a lot of, I've heard people call themselves everything from a spiritual gangster to this term influencer, which I feel like there's just a lot of these kind of meaningless words. Now, there are real influencers, but I don't think that's everyone that I've ever run into. Millennial guru, I don't know what that is, but I've seen that as a job title. No idea what that means. I believe words have meaning. And I believe that we should respect the meaning of words and say things that are tangible, that have something to back them up. Entrepreneur. What are you, an entrepreneur? But what do you do? Entrepreneurs do something. They create a business. They have a purpose. It's not a job in and of itself. And so she has this great quote on page 193. So you're the chief executive, president, CEO, director, visionary, trailblazer of your company, huh? Yes, here I am, still not knowing what the hell you do, Tommy. If you're calling yourself a trailblazer, I hope your job is to literally set grass and wildlife on fire to make running paths. Do you work for Runyon Canyon? If not, that's pretty presumptuous of you. And I think she draws this great example of it's one thing to value yourself, and it is another thing to claim expertise in things that you do not have expertise in. I think it becomes particularly dangerous when you hear people talking about health. And I know Brittany sort of touched on this a little bit in this idea of like, are you oversharing too much and seeking health or mental health advice from complete strangers on the internet? This can go the other way too and claim to have an expertise in things that you have not been to school for. And I think that that can become quite dangerous. And I take issue with that. I think that there is real value in people that have professional training and expertise in different topics, and I respect that so sincerely that I do find it off-putting when people want to claim these sort of momentous titles for themselves without adequately putting in the work to do so. So I am with her on this one. I am enjoying all the side-eye that she is dishing out. And I want people to embrace their talents, and I think that we should be very proud of the things that we've earned, but that doesn't mean you get to throw any title that you want and put it on your LinkedIn page or your Instagram bio and mean that that is true. So I thought this chapter was hilarious and very poignant and so relevant to the things that we run into pretty regularly. And I think you'll really enjoy it. This book made me laugh. It made me think. If you didn't get a chance to read it with us, I highly recommend grabbing a copy. It's a really easy read. It's essay form, so I think it's nice if you don't have a lot of time to sit down and get deeply involved in a story. Those kind of books for me are always nice because I can pick up and read 5-10 pages, cover a complete topic, and come back to it at a later time. So thank you so much to everyone who decided to come out and join us today. And we want to know your thoughts. Let us know. Join us in the comments. Tell me if you disagree with me. Maybe I am being old and stuffy on these issues. If you think so, tell me. I'd love to have a conversation about it. If you don't know, we have already announced our next book for the month of April. It is Bastard out of Carolina. We are partnering up with the South Carolina Coalition Against Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault. I think I got that right. It's a long one. And we are going to be reading, this is a book that they have recommended. It is going to be a challenging book. The subject matter is definitely very difficult, but it is very important. We're going to be having a discussion, doing our live video a little bit different this next month. We are going to have a special guest with us. Paige Chilton from the Coalition is going to come in. It is going to be a really important conversation. I think it's one that you'll want to join even if you don't have a chance to read the book, because we are going to be talking about sexual assault. April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. So come in, join us. We are going to have an expert with us to go over these important topics. And if you have any questions throughout the month as you're getting through the book or as we get closer, check out, we'll be announcing the time for that video. It's going to take place in the evening compared to these videos that we've sort of done throughout the day in the last couple months. So you'll be seeing more from us on that. Thank you again so much for tuning in, and let us know what you think. Happy Friday. Enjoy your weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.